what's also new is the new grids. So we know lazy V grids, I think, or how are they called? Lazy H grid and V grids. That's the old ones. That's for dynamic content. So if you don't want to load a whole list into a
Like
grid.
lazy stacks.
Yeah, exactly. And the new grid thing is more for layouting and more for static data. So it's not the best idea to use the grids in a for each loop because the complete list would be in memory. So it gets rendered completely. It's not lazy. So that's basically if you want to align just a few elements on the screen in some kind of table thing. So, but maybe I just show a little bit. So the basic thing is a grid, and then we can define grid rows for inside this one. So it's grid rows, and we can say, okay, we do a rectangle here, and change it a little bit. So fill it with color red, and make it way smaller. So 50-50, yeah, for example, this one. And then if I add more elements to this row, they get as expected.
Oh, that's nice.
Align next to each other.
Yeah.
And yeah. And
what is if you add more elements than fit in one row? Oh.
Yeah, it's
no flow layout.
No, yeah, exactly. So basically, let's stick with 3.
If you would not give them a width, how would it distribute the?
You mean without the width?
Yeah. Equally.
Equally, yeah.
Okay.
So it will divide the whole space equally to the elements. I think, or it looks a little bit.
I think it is, yeah. And I guess you can modify the spacing in the row.
Let's have a look. Yeah, you can. The alignment you can change.
Yeah.
And the alignment is a vertical alignment.
No spacing.
No
Maybe
spacing,
then in the grid. Can you change it in the grid?
Yeah, there's a horizontal spacing and vertical spacing.
Okay.
So let's check it out. So horizontal spacing of 20, for example, without this one.
Yeah, works nice.
Yeah. Oh, that's a bit. Yeah, it works as expected. So let's stick to that. And now we can also say, okay, I need another row. And for example, I pick one, and this one is already aligned to the columns. So I think I can only say I can span it over more columns. So if I want to say, okay, the second one should fill 2 columns, I can say grid cell columns, and I think I can say 2. Yeah. So then I, like a table, I can say, okay, I need 1 column, 2 columns, or whatever. If I take more columns, then so when I take 3, yeah, okay, then a new column gets inserted.
Yeah, above, basically.
Yeah, so it's basically a vertical columns, also normal column spacing. Okay, that's you can say here. The interesting part, everything I put outside a row would automatically fill the whole screen, I think. So there's a divider. It's basically a line.
Maybe put another rect with a color, maybe easier to see.
Yeah, or I move it.
Maybe it's moving, but it's hard to see.
Yeah, maybe we can say let's see if you can
I would just add a rectangle with height.
Okay.
That's 10 or so.
Rectangle.
Yeah, there's it already. Yeah.
So if I don't put it in a row, it's the whole space. So the
So
complete
basically
width.
every element in the grid, child element takes all the whole width.
Exactly, yeah.
And then if you put in a grid row, you can have like,
Yeah, so
controls
the
the
grid
column.
row takes the whole width available, and then the child's in there create the columns.
Yeah. But a bit smart because it controls or aligns the columns, right? So
Yeah, exactly. So
between the grid rows.
if I start to add more here, it aligns automatically because it's inside the grid. So the grid element here takes over the complete layouting here.
Can you put the width to the second rectangle in the first row?
Second rectangle,
middle
first row. This one?
No, the first row.
First row, yeah.
Yeah, because now it has the full control over the width and can handle it. But what happens if you change it there?
So what do you want to change?
The width of
cell.
No, just of the frame of the rectangle.
Okay.
So make it like
so the width, this one here, 30, for example.
Okay, so and then if you make it bigger, 100. Okay, then the one below will also grow because the one below doesn't specify a fixed width, and all the other cells, other columns will take the rest basically.
Yeah.
So if you don't specify it, it divides evenly. If one of them has a specific width, it takes this, and the rest is then distributed.
Yes. So basically, you have to think like a table. So if each column gets the space the element needs.
Yeah.
If there's a width defined.
Yeah.
And the rest of the space is then divided equally to the rest elements, so to say.
Yeah.
So it's calculated. But it's nice to align elements, like when you have a game, for example, and you have two teams with scores or something, and you want to align elements next to each other in the correct way.
Yeah.
Or like, for example, the GitHub statistic where you can see your commits with the small rectangles.
Yeah.
So to achieve something like that, you can use the grid. Yeah, but that's basically the thing with the grid. So
Are there any view modifiers also for the grid? These are always like hard to find. There's some grid.
The cell columns and then grid cell anchor.
So with the columns, you could say we have 10, and then it would like keep the rest empty, or?
Yeah, let's test it out. So when I add 10, then
it's
completely messed up. So let's remove these.
Maybe read the comment, what it says. It explained it somehow. It tells the view that access a cell in a grid to span. It's meant to be inside the row.
Okay. Yeah, that's the one I used before.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah.
So basically not on the grid row, so on the element.
Yeah, it's how many cells to.
Yeah. Okay. But interesting that you also, it would be okay to add it here. Yeah, because it's a normal view, it's a view modifier, so it gets a view and returns a view.
And it does something with it.
Yeah. So, but the question is, what can we do with the grid itself? Nothing special. So basically only define the cell columns and then the content in there.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's it.